Hi everyone! It's me here from the channel, and we've just been informed that our great friend Jimmy Bone has died at the age of 75. Now, this is very sad news. Obviously, Jimmy was a great friend to the channel. We interviewed him many times. He was a regular on the show about 6-7 years ago. A great raconteur, a great storyteller. People loved Jimmy. Not just because of his exploits on the pitch as a brilliant footballer, but Jimmy was just a great guy and everybody loved him. So, this is really sad news. Jimmy passed away peacefully at home last night, surrounded by his family. And they asked me to pass on their thanks to everybody for the support that they've given to Jimmy throughout his illness and, indeed, the great career that he'd had. And they said he never lost his dignity throughout everything. And this is a tribute to the man and the footballer that he was. I met Jimmy, like a lot of people, through my association with Partick Thistle, where he was, of course, a legend. But Jimmy played for many clubs. He played for St Mirren, Hearts, Celtic, Norwich City in England. He played in America. He played for the Scotland national team. But it's probably his exploits for Partick Thistle that people remember him best. And there's so many great stories about Jimmy. One of the things I always remember Jimmy saying to me was, he was so proud of his time at Partick Thistle. He made no bones about the fact that he felt that that was his greatest achievement. And who could blame him? Because if you look at the history of Partick Thistle, he won the biggest trophy that the club have ever won. I mean, you have to go back to 80, 89 for the last time. They actually won the Scottish Cup. They've never won the league. The League Cup is the pinnacle of domestic football in Scotland, and Jimmy played a starring role in that. In fact, I think he scored in every round of the competition as Partick Thistle beat some of the big guns to get to the final, including a semi-final against Jim McLean's Dundee United side that had just come back from Europe. And then, of course, in the final itself, they beat Jock Stein Celtic, who were trying to win their third League Cup in a row. And, of course, Celtic were hot off the back of winning the European Cup. They were considered one of the greatest teams of all time. And they had beaten Partick Thistle 3-1 at Parkhead the previous Saturday in a league match. So nobody gave Pat Thistle a chance in the final. But Jimmy Bonner scored a hat. And it was a brilliant display by the Jags. And I remember speaking to him about that in an interview. And it was so obvious how proud he was of that day. In fact, I think he still had the match ball. And he told me what it was like playing against the likes of Billy McNeil and Bobby Murdoch and the great Celtic team of that era. Of course, Jimmy went on to play for other clubs. He had a great career. He played for Scotland. He played in Europe. He played all over the place. He was a great footballer. But I think it was his humility and the fact that he never forgot his roots that people liked about Jimmy. He went back to Partick Thistle in the end as player manager. He managed East Fife, Arbroath, and St Mirren, where he was player manager for a few years and got them promoted to the Premier Division. But he was always a Jag. I mean, he was a Jag when he first came to Partick Thistle in 1964. He left in 1978, and then he returned in 1982 and stayed until 1990. So he spent more than 20 years at the club as a player or a manager or both. It's a terrible tragedy that Jimmy's passed away. He'd been ill for quite a while. He'd had a few battles with cancer, but he was a fighter. And he fought all the way to the end. But Jimmy leaves behind a great legacy. He leaves behind his wife, Marion, and his 2 sons, Paul and David, and the wider family. And again, they've asked me to pass on their thanks for the great support that Jimmy received during his lifetime, and indeed, since he'd been ill. There are many people that have been in touch with Jimmy and with us to wish him well. And they're all great friends of the channel, and we thank you for your support. But I just want to pay tribute to Jimmy as a footballer and, indeed, as a man. And I remember the first time I interviewed Jimmy. I said to him, "Jimmy, you're renowned as one of the greatest players ever to play for Partick Thistle. How does that make you feel?" And Jimmy turned around and he said, "It doesn't make me feel anything. I was just doing a job." I was playing football. But I think deep down inside, he was very proud of that accolade. And rightly so, because the way he played the game, the manner in which he played the game, he was such an exciting player. And I can remember seeing him play many times. And I saw him play for Partick Thistle, for St Mirren, and for Scotland. And he was always a crowd favorite wherever he went because of the way he played the game. He played with passion, he played with desire, and he played with skill. I mean, he was a wonderful footballer. I remember him scoring goals from all angles. I remember him scoring in all different types of ways. And I remember him playing at center half as well. I mean, he was such a versatile footballer. He could play anywhere across the back line. He could play in midfield, and he could certainly score goals up front. And that's why he got over 300 goals in his career. And it's a great legacy for any young footballer coming through the ranks today to aspire to. I mean, he was a local boy. He came from the Maryhill area of Glasgow. He started his career as an apprentice with Partick Thistle, and he worked his way up. So he was a local hero. He was somebody that the fans could relate to, and he gave everything to the shirt. And that's why he's held in such high regard at Partick Thistle and at St Mirren. He was a true icon of the game. And I think everybody in Scottish football and English football and, indeed, worldwide football is poorer with the passing of Jimmy Bonner. On behalf of everyone at the channel, I would like to send our deepest condolences to Marion, to Paul, to David, and the entire family. Jimmy will be sadly missed. He was a great friend to us. He was a great ambassador for the game. And we will miss him dearly. Rest in peace, Jimmy Bone.